I received a number of questions about the breathing exercises. Most people don't have any problems or any bad reactions to the breathing exercises, but some do. And for those that don't, it's important to be aware of a few things, which we didn't cover on the last CD nor in Doing Yourself. As you know, proper breathing exercises are one of the main things in the Undoing Yourself regime, as well as in the extreme black books and the psychopath's Bible. Proper breathing is very important. Some of the effects of proper breathing, which scare people from time to time, are the feeling of anxiety or the feeling of falling apart. Don't worry about it. That is part and parcel of the entire process. And by the way, we are doing these exercises to help us fall apart a bit. I got one letter from someone in Europe stating that their friends noticed that they weren't behaving the same way as they used to. They weren't as easygoing as they used to be. Now, in that particular case, I don't know why, or if it had reached an extreme, or it was just part of the natural process. I don't know who this fellow's friends were. But anxiety and the feeling of falling apart is not unusual. Don't be concerned about it. The other thing that happens is spasms in the hands and in the feet and in the wrists, as well as tingling in the feet, like little bugs are crawling all over you. This is also common. Sometimes people will break out into hysterical laughter. I remember getting one letter from somebody stating that they were scared to death because they started laughing after they did 15-20 minutes of deep breathing, or proper breathing as we do it in Undoing Yourself. Nothing to worry about. Another possible reaction is lightheadedness, and Dr. Rigardi always warned that you shouldn't drive a car or fly an airplane for at least 10 or 15 minutes after the session was over. He also would offer people a piece of candy because sometimes deep breathing will lower the blood sugar. So keep that in mind. Some people will get ringing in the ears, they'll get blurry vision. Some individuals will have a very dry mouth, tingling around the heart. They'll note later in the day that muscles will start jumping around and twitching, and they may develop a temporary tic. Again, don't be concerned about it. You'll note also that for a short period of time after an Undoing Yourself session, your reaction time will be slower. Your depth perception may be slightly off. There may be blurred vision. But, as I said, it is not anything to worry about. If you ever get out of control during a session, have, as I mentioned elsewhere, a nice little bag around and breathe into it and inhale back the byproducts of your breath, and that will slow the process down or reverse it rather immediately. Complete breathing is very important. Most people tend to either breathe from the top of their chest, which is very bad. You'll find that a lot with women. I would suggest that you avoid doing that. You want a full breath, which starts from the abdominal area, moves through the diaphragm and up through the chest. When you're breathing normally, like around the computer, and you find yourself just using your top muscles, take a very, very deep breath. Try to break up the tension. Again, not only does the face become a mask, the body becomes a mask. You'll note when people walk or their mannerisms, it's almost as if they're robots, automatons. They've become fixed in their presence. Their whole life is fixed. Their walk is fixed. So one of the exercises is breaking up your fixed body. And you can do that often by simply just taking a gigantic breath and going, letting go. Letting go is very important. Now, in terms of the fixed body, let's go back there for a minute. Make sure you take a few minutes 3-4 times a day. Stretch your head, move your neck around, move your head around, move your shoulders, move your arms, move your legs. And when you get up to walk, see if you can notice your fixed walking position. Notice how people tense themselves and get ready to walk. Now, what are they really doing here? They're getting ready to walk. Why? They're standing up. They're in a vulnerable position, and they also want to present themselves as being powerful, as being tall, of being safe, of being a threat. You need to break these things up. You do not need to be chronically on guard, particularly when we go into social situations. Whether you like it or not, most people are tense and on guard. I want you to begin to learn to trust yourself. You don't need this armor, this constant tension, in order to defend yourself if it's ever truly called for. If you're relaxed, you'll do a much better job in defending yourself because you can respond to the reality of the moment rather than what you think the reality of the moment is going to be. If you'll notice, the greatest martial artists in the world really don't use a fixed orientation. They're relaxed. They approach a situation in a relaxed manner. They're ready to respond to the moment rather than going through a million designed routines which don't take into account the inherent randomness of life, the inherent spontaneity of life. So try to break up your fixed patterns and begin to trust in this very ancient mind of yours, this very ancient brain, which has learned so much, not just in your lifetime, but in all the lifetimes the human brain has been evolving and growing and developing. Let's get back to discussing breathing for a moment. Our goal is to have a complete, full, and proper breath. So we want to begin with the belly, as I said earlier. Invoke the diaphragm, bring it into play, and then the chest. And this does not have to be exaggerated. It shouldn't be exaggerated except if exaggeration is part of the technique that you're going to be using. There are some people who primarily breathe with their belly, or primarily breathe with their diaphragm, or primarily breathe with their chest. We don't want this. We want a full and complete breath. Just imagine you're sucking the air in from your anus, and it's going right to the top of your forehead and blowing itself out into the universe. And just imagine again sucking in a fresh breath from your anus, blowing it out through your head, and filling the universe with your own blissful joy.